How did I go from this to this? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Hi, if you're new to my channel, my name is Libby. When I'm not animating this little guy, I've been teaching myself how to create gameplay animations directly in Unreal Engine. No Maya, no Blender, all Unreal. So if you're interested in learning about that, please consider subscribing. So let's start at the beginning. For the Pumpkin Night, which is what I called my little game, I started by recreating the animations that are in the third-person character template, which are a walk, an idle, a run, and a jump animation. Now the jump animation is actually split up into three. You have a launch when you begin starting to jump, you have a fall loop, and then you have a landing animation. So I started by recreating all of those in a cartoony animation style because that is my favorite thing to animate. The premise for my game was kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I thought, what if I had like a cartoon character who got stuck in the real world and had to escape and save his friend, and it'd be a very short game, one level, just go through, fight a boss, escape. And that was also an excuse for me to just create the player animations in the cartoon style I want and not have to create all the animations for the other characters in the scenes. I could use assets for those. So that was my initial plan. So I went ahead and first animated this run, which you can see I made the feet really fast. And what I was trying to do was to imitate multiples, which is a technique you use in cartoony animation where you add or draw an extra arm or a leg. As you can see here for Wile E. Coyote, there are a lot of extra arms and legs that he's using. But it's a technique to control the spacing when you need really fast timing. And I thought I would try and recreate that by doing the feet twice for one step. And I thought it was fun, but when I actually applied it to the character in game, unfortunately it didn't blend well with the other animation, so I had to cut that and do more of a standard run. It was still a little bit pushed, but not as pushed as I originally wanted it to be. Now the jumping animation was a bit tricky for me because I didn't realize that the upward and forward movement of the character is driven through code and not through animation. So as you can see, I have like a nice weighty, poppy, cartoony jump here, which did not work at all when I tried to apply it to the character because, again, the character movement component in Unreal is what actually dictates the forward and upward movement. It's not my animation. So I had to redo that and animate them more or less in place just so they would work better when playing in game. And I couldn't quite capture the same weight as I had in my animation, but the fact that I got it working, I still consider it a win. Then I had to animate a dodge roll. As you know, all Souls games have dodge rolls, and I thought it'd be interesting if I led with the feet and kind of did like a little pop-up whoop with the feet. It didn't blend well in game, which is what I learned. It's very important to do a blocking pass, apply it in game, see if your idea when your timing generally works before you go and bring it into spline. And so I realized I didn't like the little hop there at the end, so I cut it and just did more standard one with the feet still leading. I animated some placeholder attacks, which, not gonna lie, I straight up copied from Elden Ring. I was gonna reanimate them later. I just wanted something working just so I could finish writing the rest of the logic for my character. And with all of that and all the animations in place, I then decided it was time to test out the character in a demo level thing. So I went ahead and loaded that up, loaded my character, pressed play, and it looked terrible. It turns out that trying to do a Who Framed Roger Rabbit cartoony character in a real world is incredibly difficult to do, and it felt extremely weird. I didn't like it at all, and I knew it wasn't going to work. So I had two options. I could either keep all the art, keep the assets I had been using, keep the storyline I was using, but redo the animation, or I could keep the animations I did and basically start most of it over from scratch. And you know what I did. I didn't redo my animations, I restarted everything else from scratch. I already deal with that enough at work when Maya crashes, so that's what I ended up doing. I went on the Epic Marketplace, now called Fab, and I found this little pumpkin character who I thought visually complemented my animation style. So I went ahead and got him, got some other enemies in a similar cartoony shape language, and went to town creating additional animations and bringing the other animations I had done to more of a spline pass. None of the animations in my game are fully polished, unfortunately, due to time, but I took them as far as I could. So you can see I did some other fun animations like this one here, where I break the fourth wall when the character runs out of healing potions. I thought that was fun. I have some other ones for the enemies, like I did this one here, which I tried to imitate from the Skeleton Dance, classic Silly Symphonies cartoon from Disney, a little homage to that. And I did this funny disco dance for my boss battle, and while this is definitely not even a blocking pass, I wouldn't show this to my supervisor. I would definitely get more breakdowns in here, but it was quite fun. I used this reference here to get inspiration for my poses, and that's a really important lesson. You can animate so much faster if you have reference and if you have a plan. So it's always better to put a little bit more effort up front, planning out your ideas, than diving in blind. I also created a few cinematics for this game. These I actually whipped up relatively quickly. Sequencer I found rather intuitive for setting it all up. For some weird reason, those skeletons pop up and down. I don't know why they did that, because I didn't do that in Sequencer, but it does it when I play the game. But anyway, which was a lot of fun, and I basically copied the framing from the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Better to start from something that's working and add your own twist to it than recreate something from scratch completely, in which again, planning helps you a long way. So I created those. I created this little fun cinematic here at the end, and then after about 6 months, my little educational game was ready to ship. You can play it now on Mac systems in the link below. Let me know how you like it if you play it. And yeah, I'm super glad I did this project, because coming more from film and game cinematics, I was really interested in learning how to create gameplay animations, and I'm super glad that Epic has been building animation functionality directly within Unreal Engine, so that I could just focus on creating gameplay animations without having to deal with the whole character pipeline, and I didn't even have to worry about that. I could just stay in Unreal. I could learn how to create the cycles properly. I could learn how to implement it and see if it was working really fast, because I didn't have to wait for exports and everything like that. So if you're nervous about switching from Maya to Unreal, I personally did not find it that difficult. There are definitely some differences, and Unreal can be a little bit confusing at times until you understand that it's a game engine first, animation software second. Once you grasp that, it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I hope that seeing a little behind the scenes of the development of the animation for this game was interesting to you, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, happy animating!